Okay, example 6, let's make a start at this evening's cabinet meeting. Fairly straightforward agenda this evening. I have got no notice of any public participation, so we can move on past that. We have apologies this evening from Robert, who's working, and Councillor Pretty, unfortunately, is still well, but the rest of us are here. Do we have any declarations of interest? Probably not. So we'll move on to the minutes from the last meeting on 7th of July, which I'm sure colleagues are happy to accept. I'm going to take a couple of additional items here, and apologies to Nikki for no advance notice to this. Just for information, first is just to point out that we have accepted this lovely award, which is the APSI Service Awards 2022 winner of Council of the Year. One of 2 awards that we won, and we were finalists in 4 others, which is pretty impressive record. So I just wanted to really raise it for, and the second award was for the best service team transport and fleet maintenance service. And I really want to put on record here for the minutes. A big thanks to all the staff right across the council, because winning these awards is pretty impressive. It was pretty impressive to be a finalist in 1 or 2 awards, but to be a finalist in this number and to win 2, including the top one right across the country. And if you look at the list of councils that were nominated and involved in the process, it goes everything from small district councils through to the biggest of the county councils, the London boroughs and councils in Scotland, Wales and the North of Ireland too, so not even just England. So this is a pretty impressive record. So to win Council of the Year, I think it's a massive testament of support and thanks to all staff right across the organisation. Some of these were thematic, some of them were specialist, but because some were specialist and some were thematic, it does mean it does touch pretty well everyone in the organisation. So we will do a number of things over the course of the next few weeks and months to recognise, at the very least, recognise the teams that were finalists. So there's some photo calls and things around the place, and some publicity about that. So just put that on record. The second is I had a phone call earlier this evening from Councillor James Duker, who was going to pop along this evening, but I said that I'd simply record it here in the minute. He is currently host to a Ukrainian family. He's very aware in Hillsborough that there are quite a number of Ukrainian families that are coming to the end of their 6-month term now, and that not all of them are being retained by their host families in this country. Consequently, we're now beginning to get Ukrainian families appear as unintentionally homeless, which is a dreadful situation for them to be in, having escaped their own country because of Putin's illegal war, only to find that they're accepted as members of our community, and then effectively, for whatever reason, end up out on the streets after 6 months. Really isn't very clever. But it's pretty clear there are out there in the community plenty of other volunteers who'd be quite happy to host families. And what James was saying to me was that his conversations with friends and neighbours in Hillsborough is that people don't realise there's a need for more families to host Ukrainian refugees. So we're going to do something maybe through my Eastleigh and through other sources to just put the word out. But I wanted to record in minutes here that we're going to do that because every bit of publicity we give that helps get families into safe accommodation. Most don't want to stay here forever, and most just want to stay here until it's safe to go home. Indeed, some already are going home, but equally some others are still coming in this direction because not all parts of Ukraine are safe. So just to put those on the record, we're moving on to the items that are in front of us formally this evening. I don't think we've actually got any recommendations from committees, so we can move to item 5, which is the approval of new body-worn video policy. This is pretty straightforward. Hopefully we can just nod it through. This is about keeping our staff safe. Talking about supporting our staff, one way we can support our staff is make sure they can do the job in a safe way, because although for a lot of staff, they don't get into threatening situations, there are some staff who unfortunately do occasionally, whether it's our planning enforcement staff or our civil enforcement officers out issuing tickets, or whatever happens with street operators sometimes. So this is about giving them protection, and this codifies a policy to put that into place. So I'm sure we could just put that through. Tonia. Yeah, just to ask everybody to recognise this one. I've actually witnessed an enforcement member of staff that was so verbally abused and very close to being physical, that it had had a camera on, that person would probably have been prosecuted. So it is about keeping our staff safe, especially when they're actually out working for and representing the council. The least we can do is make sure they are safe. Okay, if we're happy with that, we'll agree that. Move on then to page 86, which is corporate key performance indicator review for 2022-23. Lewis is in the room. Pick up any questions. I'm sure there aren't any, because we've been giving Lewis a lot of grief on this over the course of the last few months as we refine these. So again, to thank Lewis for the effort that's gone into this. This is still a work in progress. This will always be a work in progress, because things that matter most do change from time to time. But this is a snapshot of where we are in terms of our current key performance indicators with a few changes. I know that colleagues have discussed these at sometimes great length over the course of the last few months, so hopefully we're now in a position where we can put a tick next to the box to agree these, and then we'll review them again in due course. Any issues what's to those? No. Okay, in which case that's good. Thank you very much. And that then takes us to our last item, which I've temporarily lost, but we'll get to very quickly, which is the vehicle and plant replacement report, which details a route through. As always with these things, this will inevitably change between now and implementation, because these things always do. It's a moving feast, but this does give delegated approval to move ahead with what's necessary to keep our fleet on the road. We need to make amendments, we'll make amendments, and there's route for making that there. Any issues anyone wants to raise?
Can I just ask a question? Sorry, Paul. It's just pinging to mind. We've had a few new vehicles recently, the bigger vehicles. I know we had a shortage of HGV drivers.
Yeah.
Are we getting the vehicles that we've paid for out on the road?
Yes, but it is a struggle.
Okay.
Some days, because it's still a struggle to recruit drivers. We have got sufficient drivers at the moment, but it's a balance. We are like every other authority in the country, probably every other company in the country, struggling to recruit drivers.
Okay. I think I'd just be happy. I know it's not my portfolio, but just be happy to be kept up to date on those types of things, because we're spending money on bigger fleet that we're not actually using. It would just be.
Yeah, we are managing to get them all out, but
okay.
Some days it's struggle.
Okay, good. Are we all content with the recommendations that are here on page 103? Yeah, good, brilliant. Thank you very much for putting it. That's 6:37 p.m. That concludes our meeting, so we can turn the recording off. And we'll therefore say to Andy and to Natalie, who are probably watching us remotely, it looks like they are. Was there anything either of you wanted to add?